All right, sweet. So, this is our first time having a conversation. Tell me a bit about where you're from, and what got you passionate about traveling, because you're very passionate. I can tell just by looking at
Very passionate. I really love it.
you.
And, vabbè, what about me? I'm from Italy, and I'm 27 right now. And let's not say that I was born passionate, but since when I was very small, my parents start to bring me around everywhere. So you see planes, you see buses, you start to dream. And then you start to turn 14, 15, and you're like, Ma, maybe I can take that train and go in that place. And so you try to sleep on a beach for 1 week, and then it just gets mental and mental. So it's especially you develop day by day, you know. You understand me, I guess. The more you do something, the more you're like excited about.
Yeah. So did your parents get into you at a young age, camping and type of traveling and all
Yes.
that type of stuff?
Yeah, camping, planes, so maybe a little bit to Greece, then go to Tunisia, and so on. So you start to see different cultures, you know, like anytime you see something new, then you get curious, like, oh, what about if I go there? Ah, what is there that I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
living
Absolutely.
in an island in Australia is a bit more difficult, I guess. But in Europe, it's a bit easier because you take a plane, you are in another country in 1 hour. It's
Yeah. That's
fantastic.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just tell me where are you now, and tell me a bit about your past travels.
But right now I am in Italy, and because I've just got back from a little walk. I made 200 kilometers by foot on the Santiago way. It's a long through hike that starts from many places, but in particular the one I did starts from Porto and gets until Santiago de Compostela. And I did all the coastal view, and it was fantastic because you can only walk a little bit by day. I did like 20, 30 kilometers by day, and by foot per day. And it's crazy because you go 7, 8 days of walking, then you get at the end destination, you come back in 3 hours of bus, and you're like, I walked 8 days for making 3 hours of
Yeah.
bus. It's like, what the hell of that?
Well,
So it's
so
very cool.
why are you into this what got you into this walking type of
Mm.
traveling? Because you're very much like, as you're saying, you're walking around your travels. What is this, and can you explain like why?
Sure, because I started last year to discover that I like to walk around. Not 2 years ago, in fact, I really like to walk around because you have time to think, you reason, you do a bit of sport, you watch what is going on. You leave a place by walking around because it's a sort of a slow pace, slow moving. Therefore, I started to build up this passion. So walking in cities. Then COVID arrived, and I started to walk a little bit more in nature, and I really discovered this passion of mine, because I got a bit used to the classic take a plane, go to a city, and visit it kind of way. Instead, this is a new way that excites me to travel and to discover things. That's why I also lately launched a new project where I walk around the world. And that's also the video you've seen and we talked about. That's also what got you to know me, basically. Because I really like it, and I'd like to make a living out of it, because I want to really to walk the world. So now I have this latest idea. And what made me interested about it is the new kind of concept, because well, our society is very fast, very focused in something. Instead, walking is like a slow pace thing. It makes you think. You cannot do 100 kilometers in a day and go in China. You need to accept the limit you have. Your limit is that 20, 30 kilometers you can do in a day. So it's really cool for it. And I'd also like to combine it with other things like visiting little villages. So maybe I live from home and I get to a certain village and I visit it, but trying to promote a new kind of sustainable traveling, because taking the plane is not very sustainable and you cannot do it a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
So, have you been training for this, or tell me what's the actual approach to it? So, what do you do? Is it just day trips back and forth, or yeah?
so to approaching the last walk I did, the 200 kilometers I did, I did a
Wow.
little bit of work. Yeah, it's a lot, but I was a bit unprepared. In fact, my project is called Track Untrained, because I'm not really an athlete. Also because to prove that everybody can live like that, you know, it's not only me. It's like everybody can really do it. Therefore, I actually this time did a little bit of walking before, so I was trying to put on around 5, 6, 7 kilometers every day or every 2 days, so to get my body used to. But between 6 and 20, 30, there is a bit of difference. You feel it. Therefore, I think that maybe I should have trained more, but still, it wasn't also part of experiments to not train too much. So it's possible to do it. In fact, it's really possible. That's the fun thing. Everybody really can. It's just about wanting, and put a bit of effort.
Yeah. Do you ever like get on one of your walks and think like, oh, I could just, put out a thumb and get a ride? Or do you just you got that mindset where you're like, oh, I've got to do it?
Every 2 seconds, you think about it.
Yeah. This could be all over with a thumb.
Yeah. I'm like, please pick me up. Oh,
Oh,
come on. But it's crazy because you just are like, my feet are hurting so much. Maybe I should stop. Then you're like, no, you get going, and it's cool because then you really see that like, yeah, I could do this, and then okay, I'm gonna do 1 kilometer more, and then maybe ask. But in fact, then you're like, okay, I can do one more, and then you would just keep rolling with it, and in the end, you arrive, and you didn't even realize you were walking, except for your feet a bit. But that's another concept. And
yeah.
so now I'm really loving it. Like imagine that I've left my job this month because I want to work more and I really want to invest in this. I right 1 week ago I told to my boss I'm done with it. I want to walk around the world, and so I'm taking time to do it for real. And since the end of September, I'm really gonna be around, and I'm probably gonna do like a way longer hike. I'm planning to do the full Santiago Way, which is 45 days, and it's 700 kilometers. And so I'm trying to understand how to do it, how to organize, because it's a little bit more complex. It's not a week, it's like a 30, 40 days. And I also would like maybe to bring a tent or to bring a sleeping bag to also try a little bit of wild experience. I'm planning it, but I really left my job to work.
Wow. So what's the passion behind this? Is it something that on the spot, or you've been planning? Like,
On the spot, maybe a bit on the spot, a bit of growing up, because like it's years that I travel. So I made 1 year, one gap year. So I've been in India for 2-3 months volunteering with children, and then from that I really enjoyed. So I went to volunteer in Spain in a hostel. Then I moved to Portugal to volunteer. Then I traveled through Thailand for another month or two, like very much backpacking style. And every time I do it, I really love it, and I really like what I can get is what I like the most is the interaction I get with people when I do these kind of things. And if you go the classic way, the interaction are a bit more difficult to create because you are inside a certain context, So you go there and you are the tourist, you are in the hostel, you are in the city. Instead, if you're walking around, you are the crazy person with a bag on his back, and everybody's like, hello, but what are you doing? And so everybody's like asking you a lot of questions. And everybody's more kind, and they're like, yeah, I guess you're tired. So do you want some water? Do you want a little bit of wine? And I tried to do always a little bit of hikes in the last year, like for example in Croatia. Because I was still in Croatia, I volunteered for 2 months in a village, and it was a village in a little bit of nowhere. So one weekend we decided to start with me and the other people I was volunteering with, to start from the village and to go in another town 30 kilometers away through a strange path, like not anything signed. We really passed through this little bit of forest. We walked, we see a lot of nice landscapes, and we passed through a little village that not even God knows where it was. And there were these hunters in a house that didn't speak a single word of any other language than Croatian, that come out on the road. They were like, and we were like, what? We're like, and we come in and we started to understand. And basically, they offered us Coca-Cola, wine, alcohol, food, bread, and they just wanted to keep us there in the afternoon to chill with them. But we still had 10 kilometers to go. But this is the crazy approach, like that change the concept of how other people see you. So I find it very interesting, and I find it super cool because it really makes you connect with people. It's another
yeah,
way of living.
that's amazing. I love this theory and this idea of doing it this way. So can you tell me other weird things that you've seen on your walks? Because like you've been to Croatia volunteering everywhere. Tell me some of the strange things that you've seen, because you look like you've seen some stuff.
But yes, some for sure. And the more you do, the more things you see. And what can I have a bit? I have so many cool stories about India. There, beyond everything you see is strange, for example, because it's really another world. Like people in there think completely different from a Western society person. And what I mean by that is that, for example, there was a snake on the road in Varanasi, and they went there. There was this huge snake around 2 meters long, and there was like a girl screaming like, "Ah, snake!" And so, what happened? Gathering of people trying to understand what to do with the snake. The snake was there minding his own business, nothing particular. And the solution that people came up with was to take a stick 2 meters long, throw it like a javelin, trying to hit the snake, and fix it like this. So they did it. In fact, they obviously missed the snake. The snake went away and entered in a house. And that was it. And then everybody went to mind his own business. I was like, how can this happen? Is this real? But it is, in fact. These kind of things are happening. And it's just like, you just need to go to different places and you see completely different kind of reasoning. I'm not saying it's wrong, this kind of reasoning at all. It's just different. And so it's very interesting to see and also funny because it differs from how I would act. So it's cool.
Wow,
It's
that's funny.
yes. It's a kind of a thing that you just see that way and you're like, how is it possible? But yes, it is.
Yeah. Tell me about the village in Croatia. So what were you volunteering for, and like why this village in Croatia?
So I was in a bit of a COVID period, so I was tired to looking for a job because it was very complex and there was only like not nice opportunities, let's say. And instead, since I always like to do this kind of international volunteering with mixed people, so intercultural exchanges, an interesting volunteering. And I found this one, which was sponsored by the European Union. And the purpose was to help the local community. So you go there, you support the people with whatever they need. That can be build a house, paint something, or pick up crops, anything. And trying to make some workshop about permaculture, how to change the way we approach food. So it was very interesting. And a bit, you were not in a normal house there, hosted in a normal house. You were in a house of some Croatian people, and we had a bathroom in 9 people, so it was a bit complex. For example, like I just like imagine the shower topic, like where you go, where is the lift, and so on. And there was like no current water, so the water we were using was coming from a well, and sometimes it was finishing, so no water for a week, and you're like, what I do now? There was some drinkable water a little bit far, so you had to go and pick up the water a little bit far to drink. Also, like at night, you're thirsty. We give it for granted the water, but it isn't in some places in the world. So you're thirsty at night, you don't drink. You wait for the morning when you can go to that place to pick up water, or you walk 20 minutes to go to the water place. But it's a incredible conception because like by doing this kind of volunteering and still in Europe, it makes you think that it makes you understand that a lot of people don't have the access of what we have. Like like now I'm in Italy, you have books, I have a library, I have a sofa, I have everything, I have water, I have a shower. There is really zero problem, trouble, supermarket, food. Instead, not all the world lives like that. Most of the world doesn't, in fact. And it's crazy to feel it for real in your skin. It makes you understand someone else. And so maybe also this is part of awkward traveling for what it concerns me, because it really makes you dive deep into people's mind and brain. It's very cool. And also that's why, because now, at least in Europe, the COVID is getting a little bit under control. And so there is again the possibility of exploring a little bit, feeling yourself and going around. So that's why the project I'm trying to bring on now, because I really want to go back a little bit to that life, because it has been a year and a bit of trying to do anything else and being a little bit locked up on projects, minds, concepts, anything. And do you walk?
Well, just let me say I love that. I love your theory. That's brilliant. I like just getting back into nature and yeah, all that. Do I work? No. currently I'm finishing my no one works.
I love it, but
That's the reason. No, yeah, I'm finishing my internship as a teacher. So
nice.
yeah, I'm finishing that off, but currently there's some choices that I've been making which don't really relate to some of the laws that we're currently getting in New South Wales, the state that I live in. So yeah, I'm looking for alternative work to get amongst. So that's why I started the podcast and just talking to people. And
It's a
yeah,
very
like
good idea. Contacting, like how you did, like contacting like people putting things that you find interesting. It's very nice, I believe. Could be very nice. Like you
yeah,
find
no,
cool stories.
yeah, exactly. Like even like talking to you about this walking thing, like I've never even heard that before, but like it's awesome.
Yeah, me neither, I have to say. I just with it.
Just try
I
it.
come up with I just come up with many stuff because the thing, like why I got the idea of really throwing myself in this is because I was working so much remote, and everything is remote now. So you are in a PC and you do this stuff, and I'm really getting a belly out of it, and I'm not moving. So I really want to move and get out of it. And from the concept of okay, I move and take away a bit of belly, it starts though like I want to walk the world. So
Amazing.
yeah, combining passions,
Yeah, yeah. So tell me what your longest walk that you've done so far? Was it the 200K one?
I'm not really sure because I did another one last year in between Bologna to Florence. So there is a route called Via degli Dei, the route of gods, I think more or less in English is. And that's pretty. I think it was shorter but tougher because this one is more or less flat. That one is in the Italian Appennini, so it's all up and down, and it destroys you. It really destroys you. You need to be trained for this kind of walks, really trained. At that time, I was less trained, really not trained at all. So it has been very tough. But yeah, I think the last one has been the longest, and I was pretty happy because I coped pretty good with it, and because when you start to do this kind of works, you have a backpack and you have shoes and you are heavier than usual. So it's a bit complex because your body is not used to carry such a weight, and it presses on your feet, and you feel all here like a bit sore after a little bit of walking. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. So yes, it was
Yeah,
the
I was gonna.
longest one.
Okay, yeah, cool. I was gonna say, like me and my partner, we go for like I go for runs sometime, just a run or whatever. But sometimes we go for like bushwalks and stuff. And the longer
Yeah,
the bushwalk, sometimes you really feel it. Like it's strange. I guess it's like it's a different type of cardio, long
yeah,
form exercise. It really it's brutal.
yeah. But it also like makes your body moves in a different way. Like running, it's a lot on your knees and pushes on a lot on it. Instead, walking has always been like making your body move in a uniform way and make it sort of roll. And a friend of mine, doctor, is keep telling me like, yes, walking is the best sport you can do for your body, the best kind of exercise you can do. I'm not a doctor, so I take his word and I read a little bit, and I'm not gonna explain why here because I don't really. I mean, it's not my role, no job. But I feel very good when I do it. Like even when you go out in the morning and you stand up and you go around, it's like your day starts with a different energy. It's really crazy. And I'm
Yeah.
really realizing it a lot lately with this job because every morning I start instead with a PC, and I don't have a good mood when I start like this. But I have to tell you, if I would live in Australia, walking in the bush would scare me a bit. You have a lot of spiders, deadly animals, all this kind of stuff. I would walk on the beach down there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe also not. There are sharks, crocodiles, jellyfish, killer stuff everywhere.
we do have a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So could you explain to me like your day to day now? So you've quit your job and you're planning your walks and you've done a few. Explain what your
okay,
days that are you planning? Are you how are you attacking this?
so it's a very good question because I'm still in the build-up process. And
Yep.
right now, I still have these 2 weeks of last working days because I noticed my boss that I'm leaving. So you have 30 days period notice. And so, okay, that was a goodbye. See you, see you. And so what I'm doing is like trying to take the free time out of my day job to make walks and record what I do and try to put it together for keep on pushing my video project because of the working project is also video project at the same time. So what I do is like I try to take the retail of time to start working now, try to understand how I want to record it, how I want to create a style on my videos and create an editing style. And I'm starting to research information about the Santiago route, the long one. So I'm looking for groups, for pages, for blogs, for GPS tracks. I'm looking like how people trained, how didn't. I'm asking to everybody what they did, how they thought, because I'm in a gathering information process. So I try to go as broad as I can in the beginning, then to start narrow down. So what do you do? Why you did it? Why did you go in the? Because for example, I discovered that there are statal, like governmental hostels, which are very cheap. And if you take a little card, you can go in these government ruled hostels, and they are made only for pilgrims, basically. And the cool thing is like there are priorities on who can enter, because there is like, for example, 100 places. And so if you are a person with disabilities, you have the highest priority. If you walk by foot, you have the second priority. If you are by bike here, if you are by horse here, and so on. So
Oh,
there is a sort of order to access to this kind of shelters, basically for pilgrims that want to do the hike. So this is very cool. There is like a little tips inside the tips. Or for example, I recently discovered that on a little village in the middle of the way, there is a places, a bodega, which is a sort of small grocery shop, which is offering every day 100 liters of wine from a fountain. So you go there, you pick up your wine for the pilgrims, and, and you carry it and you drink it, and it's for free. So there are a lot of crazy little tips that you discover every day that now I'm like, okay, I do it. I want to go in these hostels. I want to pass through the fountain. And who know what else is there hidden? Because once you thing is like, you don't even need to plan that much because once you start these kind of experiences, wherever you go, if you don't focus yourself in a single project, so you visit, I take for example Rome. Okay, you go to Rome as a city. If you plan everything, you know that you're gonna go there, and visit the Colosseum, the Vatican museums, and do this kind of stuff. If you try to go and follow a little bit the way, like such as in a work, such as can be in a city, you maybe discover like a little tip from a local there. This person just redirect you to a little shop that you would never discovered, or maybe a social center that does cool activities and so on. And same is working like a little bit. You read what to do and you think like, it's very cool. Maybe I have useful tips. But the other nice part is to let yourself being carried and maybe end up eating that night with a Spanish family that loves Italian pilgrims, which happened everywhere in the world. Once in Laos, a guy, just because I was Italian, was keep asking me selfies. I was and hugging me. Only because I was Italian, he was calling me his brother. I was like, I seen you 10 minutes. I'm not your brother, but okay, I hug you. I don't mind. So the concept of not planning gives you more excitement, in my opinion, because the unknown is what brings you cooler things because you don't expect them. So
that's
the nice part
amazing.
of it is not plan even too much.
Wow,
Actually,
that's so cool. So, like, how did you research? You obviously research like this wine, the free wine, and all that for the towns and stuff. Like, that's not general knowledge.
no, absolutely not. I just like by the fact that I start to follow groups or like ended up there. So I'm looking for posts where I'm posting things and people pop up with stuff. So today I was at this wine place. I was like, is it real? Is there a wine fountain in the walk offering for the pilgrims? And yes, it is in fact. So
That's
it's
so
very
good.
cool. It
Never
just
even
pop
heard
ups
of
like,
that.
yeah,
That's
me neither.
amazing. That's so
Yeah, me
good.
neither.
Do
Well,
you
also,
find?
sorry.
Oh, you go. You go.
No, I just think also like the priority order to occupy beds. It's like incredible if you think about it. I never heard about it. So in this kind of governmental hostels, that there are priorities according to what kind of travel you do. So this is crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either. So if you're a walker, or pilgrim, you're essentially a modern day pilgrim. You get yes, you get the help essentially.
Yeah, you get the priority basically. Instead of buying it for a plane queue, you get it for a hostel track.
That's
It's really
awesome.
crazy.
I think I'm going to try to convince my partner to do some more walking when we travel now, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna do a live call when you do it. We talk to
Yeah,
each other
sure.
and we
Film you.
I push you. I'm like, yes, go, walk.
One more step. Tell me about your trip in India as well. So you've been to, how long did you go to India for?
In India, it was very as well. A part of it was volunteering, and a part of it was since I'm there, I've traveled a little bit. So I was in the gap year, and I was thinking like, what do I do? I don't know. And I discovered this association called Project for People because I'm interested about NGOs and non-profit. I'm interested in that world. And a friend of mine have been with this association in India already. And he told me about this incredible experience, very nice. But the difference is that he's a doctor and I'm not. I'm a business background, I'm marketing, so nothing to deal with it. However, this doesn't matter because everybody can go there basically. And you go there, you're pushed there. And I was like, yeah, let's try this. So basically you got accommodated in a house. It's a very small place with 20 other international volunteers. You give them a little contribution because to support the operation, because they are really helping a lot of people that wouldn't be able to go to the doctor, wouldn't be able to have food, like also to daycare children, to teach some hygiene basics or things like this. And what you do there is actually getting in top contact with these people and trying to help them. So sometimes you do some social things, so you go to deal with kids, you try to show them that there is also an interest from people outside of India, which gives a lot of good feelings to the people there, in fact. Or in the other hand, you also like try to make simple medical tasks, let's say like put a cream on the skin because there are doctor visiting people. And then they tell you, yeah, put a cream on the skin, do that. If you want, you can also do injections, but I was a bit
Oh,
worried about that because I'm a business student, but maybe I've done one or two, let's say. But it was a bit like crazy experience, and it really pushes out of the comfort zone, and it makes you live what these people are living. So these people are living with nothing. They like imagine that at least in the association, the doctor was saying that like 90% of the Indian population don't see doctors, never in their life. It sounds so much to me, but this is what he told me, so I can't confirm it. But I tell you, if it is not 90, it's 50 because it's a mess that country. Like it's really a mess. There are really like little old houses made out of mud, and 20 people are living in 2 square meters. I'm exaggerating, but that's the concept. So and people need food, people need help, children need to be taken care of. There are a lot of workshop of anything, even of like correct hygiene, hand washing, which everybody had basically with COVID, but also like before, or like how to brush your teeth, or this kind of concept that for us it's like seriously, but instead if you're not used to, it's something you need to learn as well to have correct hygiene practices. So a bit was a part of it was in basic helps, a part of it was some medical helps, some part was in a little bit of field help, so helping with some cultivation to help some people, but not too much. Another part was this little microcredit project that was lending a very tiny amount to people. And this tiny amount, we are helping them to start the simplest business possible, just to give them a certain kind of sustainability. This is a common practice in developing countries to give out micro loans. It's like we're talking about 2, 3, 5, 10 euro, really super small amounts, but still make a difference. Yeah, they really make a difference. And the funny thing, at least in here, it was like that the money were given basically only to women because they were more disciplined with cash. Instead, if they were giving this kind of money to the guys, to the men, they were drinking them all. They were just using them to get alcohol and drink them out. So
Come on,
they
really?
were not giving. Yeah. They were not giving out money to men for this reason.
So
Some of the association there were
sexist.
applying this concept. Yeah, but in a good way.
The other
In
way.
this case, yes.
Yeah.
In a
No.
good way. It's a thing. Yeah, and yeah, this was the part of the volunteering. And then instead I traveled a bit, so I decided to visit a little bit that beautiful country, which I deeply love. Can't say the opposite. It's very fun. And so I went a bit north in Varanasi, the sacred city where the Ganges is passing and people are celebrating all the religious ceremonies, and there are a lot of local traditions, a lot of temples. It was very cool. Then I went a little bit in the south to the southern region where there is a little bit of a forest, which is very pretty. And then I also went to some islands, which I loved. But it's very fun because these islands are called, how they are called? I don't remember anymore. But they are islands that are very much in the south, super close to Thailand, but in fact they're India. And so basically, by these Thailand islands, you could take a boat and be there very quick, but you cannot. You need to enter India first, and then take a plane to go there, because
Oh,
I don't know why. It's very particular. Andaman Island, that's how they're called. Andaman Island. They're crazy nice, and so they have this peculiarity. They are completely wild, super savage. There is a lot of nature. Fantastic place. Yeah, I've been also a bit of tourist there. And then I visited a little bit Delhi, which is a super huge city, very huge city. Because I didn't say this, the volunteering that I did was in Kolkata, which is on the right side. And
yep.
it was very fun. Yeah. So in India, here is Kolkata. And it's very cool because it's very cool. It's very strange because that area, let's say, it's an area that needs a lot of help. And when I was traveling and going there, I had to pass. I met more Indian people before, telling them, I'm going to India there. Or during the plane, I was going first to Delhi and then to Kolkata. And I was telling to some Indian people in the airport, in the plane, I'm going to Kolkata. And they were like, are you serious? Are you going there? It's dangerous. Don't go there. No, it's dangerous. It's your country. You're telling me to not go there. Are you serious? This is crazy. You want to scare me and going there to volunteer, and you tell me don't go there because it's dangerous. So
Yeah.
I let you imagine how was the world there. It was very mess, but
Wh-
really full of love.
What was your highlight from that trip
My
slash work?
highlight?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like the best part of it?
Yeah. In Was it the injecting of kids?
No, I have to say not. I think it was. I don't know how the because once I've been in this little village out of everything inside of this forest, and we spent there one night because there was a sort of medical center there, and so we did a bit of our duties, and then we spent there the night with mosquitoes like this, but this is another story. And the cool thing was the morning because we went to the roof of this building in 5 or 6 people, and we've been able to do some morning rituals that the guy of the center were doing. So a little bit of meditation, a little bit of yoga, a little bit of singing, something that by my own I would have never done. And instead, with this sun rising and that moment there, relaxing in a group, everybody very focused on what it was doing and really enjoying it and doing for the pleasure of it, was such a wholesome moment, very relaxing, giving you such a crazy sensation. I loved it. It was very super
Wow.
nice. Maybe that was the little cherry on the cake of that trip or volunteering overall.
That's so good. And did you have
Yes.
like a audio issue with was it very loud, like the streets all the time? Was that an adjustment that you had to make going there, or was that just natural for you just to get amongst the sound? Because I heard the sound is an issue for people.
It's very much an issue for people with sound, but luckily I'm Italian, so we are used to loud noise. Let's say my country is a full loud noise country. But not
Yeah.
as much, but that was the least of the issue, I have to say, because I've lived in many cities, also in student cities above student places, and I tell you, there is no silence there. You get accustomed to hear celebrating and traffic and whatever. So strangely, it didn't annoy me too much, but to the other people, they were like, what a headache. This noise never stop. Also because it's a crazy confusion. Like to cross the road, there are like four tracks, and you just need to stop the cars like this. And if they stop, you pass. If you don't stop, you jump. It's very incredible. The confusion
Wow.
is extreme.
Yeah, I've got another question here for you. I was wondering, like, do I've heard that people can, if someone like dies on the road, they just leave them there. Is that a thing? Have you seen that, or is it in India?
Yeah, I haven't seen that, fortunately, I have to say, because that people don't really help my heart.
Yeah.
I've seen a fight in the road because what happened is if you have an accident, people start to fight very easily, and who is considered responsible of the accident get beaten up from time to time. I don't understand why. I've read it in a book and I've sort of seen this kind of scene, but when I saw it, I was like, "Ciao!" I leave that moment because I was like, it doesn't look like a good place to be. And I really don't know about the other issue. I have to say, I wouldn't say
Well,
anything about it, but that doesn't sound so impossible. I have to say, doesn't sound at all. You see sometimes, mainly animals, you see that around a lot that are dead somewhere in cities. But imagine the condition is there are people sleeping everywhere, literally everywhere. So you don't really understand is someone sleeping, is not. There are little houses in every corner, under every bridge,
wow.
every walking path. There are people sleeping there. Sometimes even in the lanes of the tracks. It's like it's incredible. You don't imagine it really. At least I couldn't. I would have
Yeah.
never been able to imagine such a nation.
Wow, that's crazy. Me and my partner
Mm.
had a trip planned to India, but the COVID, it was at the COVID when an outbreak in
Uh,
2019, and it just threw it all. So, oh, it started 2020. It was, sorry.
uh,
Yeah.
in 2020. Okay, okay. But which part have you been? Because like it changes a lot according to which part of India you go. Because I've been in the poorest area as far as you got told, and like for example, if you go in Goa region, there it's like way more westernized, so it's like more or less like a sort of westernized country. Instead, in the West Bengali area, it's really needs to develop more, and it's trying to grow. So it's really another world. It changed so
Yeah.
much because it's such a huge country. It's not also Australia, in fact, is very big, but with less people, let's say.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Have you is there anything like any, so you just got the future, your walks planned, and what's a place that you've been to where you're like, oh, I'm not going to go back there, like it was too sketchy, or no, I'm guaranteed there's a few of them, but like, yeah, just a bit weird that you're like, oh, I wouldn't touch that place again.
Um, Unfortunately, I've lived in Lithuania as well for 6 months, and I unfortunately didn't like it at all because I didn't feel good. I didn't feel very comfortable in the country. The country wasn't made for me, let's say. The weather wasn't for me, and also like the relationship that you had with locals and the kind of life you were living, it's completely against my nature because I'm very extroverted. I like to go out. I like to stay out, and very little bit for the weather, a little bit for the kind of life you live. It was completely different from me. So I really felt very bad there for my period abroad there. And so I really think I would like to go back there. I have to say, at least for living. It is for some days traveling, but I can go back everywhere, literally, because whatever, it doesn't mind. Some days they pass pretty fast overall. But if I have to say a place where I wouldn't go back to live, it's there. Or to visit, I wouldn't go back to visit a Polish city that I don't remember the name because I really didn't like it. Because it was only skyscrapers and that was it, and a shopping mall. So I had to pass through there to go in another city and to spend there a day. But it wasn't my favorite touristic destination, I have to say. But nothing against Polish or Lithuanian. This needs to be clear still. Just a personal taste. Personal taste varies, let's say.
You'll have hate mail now from them. So.
Really? No, please. Apart from them, I have friends from both countries that they like.
Yeah. So what's a thing that is there a place that you want to go to eventually, like that you haven't been to so far? Because you've traveled everywhere. Like, is there anything on your list or your bucket list?
I don't know, like a real place where I have a strong feeling to go right now. It's everything a bit confused because I'm a bit of a pragmatic person, and I understand that COVID-wise, it's everywhere you go, it's complex. So I'm a bit undecided. I'd like to actually, in fact, to come to Australia or New Zealand for a little period, do a 6 months or 1 year. You know, the working travel visas, like a kind of visa that you go there and you work for a year in your country and then you travel together. So I'd like to do such an experience, but now your borders are closed, so I cannot. And yeah, so this is the struggle. And as well, it could be problematic to go there and to come back. So it's a bit of a stopping point. And as well in South America, I'd like to spend more time there, but the situation isn't very good. And so if you go there, it's a bit of complicated, a lot of organization. So for now, I'm still enjoying the European life, being in Europe, because here the situation is getting better. And I'm more reasoning on an European mindset for the moment. The thing is, like, I more or less have been in all the countries in Europe, so I need to get creative on what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't go to the capital there because I've already seen it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's also why I want to work, because I did some other kind of stuff, and now I'm evolving my way of going around.
That's awesome. Can you show me your logo on your shirt again? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you see it? Yeah.
that's
This
amazing.
was handmade by a lovely French girl, which is my girlfriend. And
Yep.
it's crazy because she all painted it, and then she passed with a sort of a rope, orange rope, because it's not painted this part. And she did
Yeah.
it, and I really like it. And this is me being destroyed with a with a stick like this. And a friend of mine, which is a graphic designer, took the border of me and put me as the image, like being destroyed, because since it's the untrained concept, it's me untrained, dying after a walk.
I love it. Looks awesome. Awesome logo.
Yeah, I really had fun making it. And it's a situation that happens a lot, I have to say, me like this in a troublesome moment.
So do you walk with your partner, or is it more solo for you?
Depends on the periods. Like the last one was with my partner, and also another friend of mine. So in fact, we were three. But and the one before that I did, I was still with some other friends. But now I'd really like to challenge myself and do it alone, because I've did a lot of traveling by myself. Went like for India, I was by myself, or in South America, I went by myself. I went to work in hostels by myself, so it's not a trouble. But I never did this kind of walking path by yourself. And also, I'd like to challenge myself with it, and to see how do I feel, to do 40 days with your inner self, reasoning and pushing yourself going around, because it sounds short, but it isn't at all. It's like a long time. And I also reasoning on if I would like to sleep a little bit in a tent or not, because I'm scared by it, I have to say. Honestly, I am. Because the concept of being track and train is really like you're a normal person trying to do things, and the trying to do things is, okay, I'm in a tent in the middle of nowhere. What am I feeling good about it or not? And the idea of it, it's like, oh, I don't feel too good about it. But maybe it's just in your mind. So you go there, and in fact, you start to chill. You find a place that makes you feel good. You spend, maybe you have a little bit of that red wine that is on the way, and then you might sleep perfectly. You know, it's about the condition of how you feel. Is so I have to reason about it and to try stuff. it's pretty it. So I'd like to make it as a challenge.
Yeah. No,
Whatever.
that's awesome. Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's something that you could tell me that you've learned from all your travels? Like what's like the one thing that you can take away from like all the places you've been that you've learned type thing?
Always bring 3 credit cards for whatever you do. Because different,
Very good.
different credit cards everywhere. Don't keep them in the same place ever. And ask to people because people are super kind. Whatever you do, if you have trouble, ask around. Someone is gonna help. Always. Never be shy. Ask to everybody. People are kind. People love people. We are social. We are human, and we like to help each other. So we think that this is the main takeaway.
Yeah.
Really,
No, that's
really
awesome.
the fact that, yeah, really the fact that people are really willing to help, and people love people. You just need to be kind towards each other, and that's the solution of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's deep. That's good.
Yeah, it's really heartwarming, you know.
Is there
Feel like, yeah, I'm working.
I was gonna
No,
say,
please go.
is there many clubs open in Italy right now, like discotheques or anything like that, or just it's more?
I think in Italy they're not even open. I'm not sure. There are some concerts going around, but it's everything open air. So now we're discussing about because in Italy we have this thing called Green Pass. So basically, if you are vaccinated with a second dose for a certain number of days, you can do some activities by showing the proof of vaccination. And so now there are some outside concerts, but I'm not really a club person. I'm more of a concert person. So I cannot really help on the club scene overall what's going
Okay.
on.
Who
So,
do you
but concerts are
who do you like to listen to at concerts?
right now anyone. It's so long I don't go to very big concerts.
Anyone?
I don't go to a festival with 100 artists from all over the world. Seriously, possibly a cumbia concert now. I'd love. You know, with South American music, super cool. I'd love to be such a concert. Would be nice. Or if I'd have to pick an artist, I think that I would go very classic on the Rolling Stone because I never heard them and they're not gonna be around for so long. We lost the batterist lately, unfortunately, and vabbè, doesn't look to stop the singer, but sooner or later he will as well. So that would be very
Yeah.
nice.
Wow.
More of a
Okay.
nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah. What's so to sum it up, is there anything can you tell me the name of the like your website? I'll put it in the show notes, but like your website and your blog and your YouTube channel and stuff like that, just so someone can hear it.
Sure. So the blog is called Track and Trained, and the concept is trekking for everybody because you can relax, you can do things without feeling in difficulties with it because everybody can really walk around and enjoy it. It's just a matter of throwing yourself in something a little bit new and it's not even that difficult. And so for now, I'm starting with an Instagram channel, a YouTube channel, and sort of TikTok, but I'm not still convinced about it, and a Reddit page. So I'm pushing this kind of different stories and videos. But it's still developing, so you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit and TikTok. But
Awesome.
I'm developing it, and if this goes good, I'm also planning to make a blog and to write a little bit about it because for now I'm just doing very short video because of time constraints. But in 2 weeks I'm gonna be able to do a little bit more structured project. I have
You'll have
more
all
time.
the
I
time in
have all
the
the time. Yeah.
world. Nothing
Morning
but
to night.
time.
Yeah. Morning to night. As much time as I want. I can walk. I can record videos. Whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very glad. Yeah. Yes. But
That's
in
awesome.
fact, yes. This is the last concept about track and train. The fact why I come up with the track and train thing is that I was unhappy with my job at the moment because it's a nice job. It's a nice purpose, but still I'm not feeling good with it. And the fact that I don't feel good with it means that it's not right for me. Like, I cannot live unhappy, in my opinion. So that was the biggest push to leave it and try to build up this project and trying to see where it goes. Maybe it's not gonna be long, but it's gonna be fun for sure. I'm gonna love it. So why not? In case I can get another job later on.
Absolutely. You might as well go for things. Hey, like
Yeah,
what, like the worst thing that could happen, you just start again, I guess. Like, who cares?
yeah. You started. Yeah, who cares? Exactly like your podcast. You're like, yeah, why not? Let's
Fuck
try
it.
to do
Yeah,
it. And I really love it. Like, yeah, contacting you. Like, yeah, let's have a talk. Yes, why not? I love the idea. It's really
exactly.
cool.
I was gonna say, your TikTok. I've got TikTok, but not for this, but just personally, it's so
Yes.
addictive, so
Yeah,
addictive.
crazy. You don't know, but like my other part of what I do is I'm a social media marketeer and a copywriter and yeah, content creator. So I run around the social media and this kind of stuff. And the TikTok algorithm is crazy. He understands you better than yourself. He really understands not are what you like, but what are your inner desires. There was like a research by the Washington Post, I think, or by the New York Times, where they set up sort of 100 and 120 accounts, and to every account they give it a sort of a speciality. So they give it to some traits. So I was passionate about motorcycle, and I was in a happy mood. And they calculated that more or less the TikTok algorithm to figure it out needed only like 1 hour and a half of scrolling, 1 hour and a half of scrolling on average. So a little bit more, a little bit less, and it was crazy just by how you act on a video. So you press like, you don't, you just watch a certain time, you rewatch, you press in a specific part of the screen. This gives a lot of data to the algorithm, which categorizes you and your account in a certain way. So this is crazy, and also like I like to put up video and stuff to see how these kind of accounts are working, because I find it super interesting. I really like mass psychology, let's say.
Yeah, that's incredible. I was even like as you're saying, the science behind that is just ridiculous. It's almost like
Yes,
Facebook, Instagram, like Twitter on steroids, just in like the way you can communicate in the short clips. Excellent. Excellent.
uh, yes, it's in steroids. But in fact, I sort of inspired myself to this for my project, because right now I'm only doing a 1 minute video, trying to make them engaging, trying to make them very engaging and very easy to watch, because what I'd like to do is to entertain, not to explain for now. But now I'm also planning to entertain and to explain it with other videos. So now I'm gonna start to make I'm actually starting to prepare a video on how to prepare a bag for such a walk, because what do you bring? It's not that easy, because you need to try to stay as light as possible, because everything is on your back. Then if you want to cheat and give your bag to someone, it's always possible. But if you want to run in a let's say proper way, it's interesting how to organize, what to bring. Do I bring how many t-shirts? Do I wash my clothes or I carry more clothes? Personally, I prefer to wash because it's less in my back, and after a bit you feel it. So it's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. So what do you drink, by the way? You like the red, do you? You're a red drinker.
What do you mean? What do I drink? By the way, meanwhile I walk, I drink water generally.
Oh, where you work, yeah. No, like red wine, you're a wine drinker or a beer,
I'm Italian, therefore wine is
everything.
in our veins, but also beer, but also we have this special strong alcohols called grappa. So I'm from the north, and in the north we appreciate drinking overall. So let's say more of a wine drinker, because I like to taste it and we produce it a lot, but I'm not an expert. But then I also, if you give me a beer, then I drink a second one, then a third one. I have pleasure with it. I don't disdain anything, let's say. Like food, I also love food, and to cook, I also cook.
Awesome.
So this really doesn't stop me. I like every taste.
Awesome. Yeah, Italian food's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
discriminate food, nor alcohol, nor people. It's all the same.
No, that's a good attitude to have. Well, yeah, I appreciate your time, and your stories are awesome, and hopefully we'll be in touch in the future. See where you're at with your trip or whatever. But yeah, it's been a pleasure.
If you want, we can organize later on a little call when I'm doing one of the trips. Can be fun.
Would love it.
Because,
Absolutely.
because yeah, in the beginning of October, I'm going to a Sicilian island for a couple of weeks to reason and to think about what I'm gonna do. So to organize myself, and then after that, I'm probably going to work, still, as you told, in organization. So we will see. We will see. We can be in touch.
Yeah, awesome for sure. Well, appreciate it, and thank you, and good luck with it all. And can I just say, you're the most passionate person that's been on my podcast so far. So awesome. Keep it up, man.
Thank you. I'm very passionate about everything I do. That's the salt of life, the taste of life. It's passion, I believe.
I love it. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.